let's talk about the women, because a lot of people know you because of the women. I mean,
That's how it all started.
it is, well, with what, throwing the porn star off the roof?
No, the trying to impress them with the Instagram stuff and whatever.
Because you started posting like the guns, but then you said the girls got more, and then later the cannabis got more, which we'll get to.
Yeah, so I mean, initially it was kind of lifestyle stuff, and then I would put the girl stuff in there too. And it's funny because the jealousy was actually like more of a driving force than anything else. If girls see other hot girls that are interested in you, it's, I think the most powerful like driving factor, like more so than the money and the fame and all the others. Well, maybe not more than fame. Fame kind of is a trump card, but
you said fame like 100x's things, whereas
it's
money
a crazy
10x's
thing. Like, yeah, it's a crazy thing. Like situations that would never happen otherwise. Yeah.
Is it now have a life of its own? I mean, can you control it now?
Yeah, there's no stopping it now. The train has left the station. So, like, I didn't post for like a month or two and figured like it would kind of go away, and it's not going away.
Okay. And the women that are around, well, first of all, you probably heard connections with Hugh Hefner. Are you the modern day Hugh Hefner? And like that image, one guy with like 8 women, like you do or Hef does. Yeah. I mean, that does everyone's head in, right? And in the Puritan America with, family values, why is that such a hard thing for people to get their head around? And what are you telling them?
I don't know. I mean, I think like recently society has said certain things are okay and certain things are super bad that had been going on for like thousands of years. Like back in the day, I mean, it was normal for a person to have more than one wife. Not that long ago, if you won a battle, you would rape and pillage and you would steal stuff from the village, you'd have sex with all the women, and that was fine. And now, I mean, that would be, crazy war crimes. And I just think in the last 100 years, things have just changed a lot. But I think it's more normal than people lead on. I mean, if you look at, in the animal kingdom, I mean, there's one stud animal that has sex with, most of the, females. And I think in our society, it's actually, that is actually what happens. It's just not necessarily broadcasted as much. It's not kind of put out there. But I think 5% of the guys have sex with like pretty much all the girls. So I think it's been happening, and I think it happens like that. I just think, before social media, I don't think it was as public, and I also think it's a little bit counterproductive to post about it, because I think a lot of these guys, would do it a little bit more on the slick. And I've always just been like, fuck it. Like I always tell the girls the truth. So I never lied about anything. Which surprisingly made it easier, actually, because then, I don't know, if you ask me, or let's say if I asked my girl, like a girl that I was dating, like, hey, how many guys do you have sex with last week? And she told me I had sex with 6 guys last week. I'd know she was telling me the truth, right? Because like no girl would like lie in that direction, Or if I said, how many guys have you had sex with your whole life? And she told me, 537. Like I would know she's telling me the truth. So I think when these girls ask me questions and I tell them answers that they, normally wouldn't want to hear, it builds trust. So it's like a strange thing. But it's, it's a little counterintuitive.
And why do they stay? Why do they stay?
I think different reasons. Some of them want to be famous. Some of them are having fun. Some of them genuinely like me. Some of them just enjoy the lifestyle. Some of them are there for the adventure. Some of them are there because they're not supposed to be there. A lot of them come because they've broken up with a boyfriend and want to piss him off. That's like the number one, I think. But yeah, it's a lot of different reasons, I would say.
How does one get to your house?
As a guy or a girl?
As a girl. Like
as a girl, it's kind of tough. Like I don't really, they got to know somebody, or, sometimes the DMs work. We've got a lot of photographers that work for us, so maybe through that. But It's easier now. Like, I think back in the day, if a girl wanted to get in touch with a celebrity, it was kind of difficult. Like, she had to know somebody, or her manager had to set that up. But now they can just go straight to the source and just DM them. And it's true for me too. Like, I actually watched this show Iron Cowboy the other day. This guy did 50 Ironman triathlons in 50 days in 50 states. I don't know if did you see that?
No, I didn't. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was like this crazy thing. And I watched this documentary and I was like, holy shit, like that's insane. Like, this guy, did 50 fucking Ironman triathlons in 50 days in 50 states. And like, the previous record was 30 in a year, which was set by him. So to do 50 consecutive ones was just like absurd. And I ended up DMing the guy and I was like, oh, like, super impressed. Like, it actually like motivated me to start doing more cardio again. And then the guy hit me back and, we started talking. It was just like, it's just kind of like crazy to have that access, like you could watch a movie and, hit somebody up or, tons of famous people, like I could just immediately connect with them. And so that is one of the, interesting things about social media is that it gives girls access. So they can, if they want to hook up with these celebrities, they can now. So a lot of the girls will just, DM me and it'll, happen pretty seamlessly.
Are you always looking for more girls, or is it like a cap, or do you have too many?
It's money and girls, like a black hole. There's just never, I feel like there's never enough. Like you just never feel like you have enough money. You never feel like you've hooked up with enough girls. I don't know, it's a weird thing.
And that's still the case today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little overloaded right now, but I feel like you're still like, I don't know. I mean, every girl's different, so it's always a different experience,
Would you say you're addicted to sex?
Yeah.
And you've known that for a while?
I think I've like come to terms with it recently. Maybe in the last like 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you found a way, like a functional addict, right? I was a functional alcoholic for many years, so.
Well, it's a weird addiction because it's one that like I feel like a lot of guys would have, but they just can't. It's like, I feel like it's weird. Almost all guys I feel like don't have as much sex as they would want. Like, and that goes for like even the 5%, I think.
Yeah, I think that's why they watch you, right?
Well, I'm saying like even the 5% of guys that are having sex with all the girls, like even the super famous guys, like they're still like, in fact, like a lot of those guys chase as much as the guy at the bar that has sex once a year.
And
strange thing.
What are your thoughts on marriage?
I don't see a ton of upside in it for, a guy in my position, but I guess if you lived in the Midwest and you wanted to have a family and you wanted to have kids, it would make sense.
But otherwise, it's a gamble on 50% of your assets.
It's a big bet, man. You're betting that you're going to love her forever. And I mean, you're also involved in the government. Like if you want to get a divorce, you have to ask the government for permission. So I don't know. I think just that dynamic alone makes both people feel like kind of trapped in the situation a little bit. So I think when you put somebody in a situation where they can't escape or they have no out, it makes them kind of want to get out. I don't know. I just think the whole kind of idea is a little bit flawed. So
there's a lot of these like invisible contracts that we have, like marriage or boyfriends and being faithful and
I don't know if the marriage one is too invisible.
Right.
I mean, that's like kind of like
maybe that's visible, but
yeah, you got to go to court. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's a whole process. Like if you decide, like if you catch her fucking the plumber, it's not like you can just walk. Like no, you have to go to court. You have to talk to the government. You have to give her a certain amount. Like you have to agree on. It's just a whole process, right? Like just split up the house. I mean, it's just so different than dating. It's just so many more serious implications.
And you said even before that some people are just in relationships and they stay in them because they just, don't have better options and they're just trying to be nice.
You've done your research. Yeah. No, I think...
but you kind of blow through all of those.
I think it was laziness. I think that's probably one of the... If I were to say the main reason people stay in relationships, I think it's laziness. Because I think there's a decent amount of them that are unhappy or that would be happy with somebody else, but they're kind of, you know, they're afraid of the unknown, or they're comfortable, or whatever. They just don't want to go out and, you know, find somebody better or find somebody more compatible. And so they just get, you know, stuck in the routine. I think that's what happens to a lot of people in their lives. They just get stuck in a routine, and then they wake up one day and they're 40 and they've been doing the same fucking thing every day. And they look at my Instagram and say, oh shit, you know, here's a guy that's doing something different all the time. He's, you know, he's living outside the box, experiencing something new. He's having sex with different girls. He's traveling different places. You know, who knows what he's going to do next? And so I think that's part of the appeal, is that, you know, it's unorthodox, it's unknown, you know, unpredictable.